Chapter 2, Nowhere Man.
Sam McCall's story continued. Sam wakes with a start, his dreams having been disturbing in some ways, but also unsurprising, the image of a space station revolving in a sea of darkness. However, somehow, he feels like he's being watched. Looking around his room, Sam notices the clock on the monitor. 18:30 hours. Good, as Sam is starting to feel hungry. Getting up, he heads to the wall where he had entered earlier.
Main dining hall?
Sam asks, as the wall vanishes and a corridor buzzes to life. Following the corridor, he soon arrives at the dining hall, hearing nothing at all until Sam steps over the threshold into the room. The sound then hits him as a few heads turn to watch him enter. The talking changes quickly to a quieter chatter, with more heads turning to see who the new guy is. Sam hears the occasional, "That's the new fish," as he walks over to the food dispenser. Sam grabs a tray of food and heads to an empty chair. After he sits down, the murmurs shift back to normal banter between inmates. He finds the food actually better than expected. A little bland, but hey, it's prison food. What do you expect? It fills a space. Relaxing a little, Sam looks around. There's everything he's learnt to expect to see in a high-security prison, and he knows what to expect in the coming weeks. He realizes some groups are already sizing him up. Whatever their intentions, he's sure he will be the first to know. Then he spots something odd. A man in his early 30s, smart-looking, but not dressed in prison fatigues. He's just sitting there, not eating, his eyes closed. Listening, maybe. He opens his eyes and turns his head in Sam's direction, and they make eye contact. The act, for some reason, just makes Sam shiver, and he breaks the contact. He gets up to take his tray over to the disposal units and slip the tray down into the chute, and when he looks back toward the man, he's gone. Sam sleeps well that first night, and true to Brooks's words, the monitor displays no tasks for him the next day. He has breakfast. Again, it's not too bad. He's not sure what he'll think after a few weeks, or worse, months, but he hopes he can work out a way out of this place within the year. So, he's not worrying about the food in the long term. However, what is worrying him at lunch is that the group of guys that eyeballed him on his first day are starting to have ideas about having themselves some fun. Sam, for one, is not in such a fun mood right now. He thinks he will decide whether to skip dinner if he can survive lunch first. Without warning, a fight erupts a few tables to his left. Tables get overturned and a chair is thrown at one of the assailants. Before the fight can gear up into more violence, it's over. Dreamtime kicks in, and 4 guys end up taking floor naps. This will be interesting to see what happens next, but Sam's table suddenly gets overcrowded. Looking around, Sam comprehends too late that the Good Time Boys have made their move much earlier than he expected.
"Hey there, new fishy,"
The taller of the 5 of Sam's new best friends say, and oh boy, he's a cutie. Broken nose, 1.5 ears, decaying teeth, and arms sporting tats that mark him as a deep space wrecker. Sam guesses that his buddies are part of the same gang. They're the sort that sets up a fake distress beacon far enough from the transport lanes that it only shows up on expensive haulers' scanners. Then the haulers see the chance to do a bit of salvaging. Accidents do happen, but ironically in these setups, they normally are the ones that are salvaged.
Hey yourself.
Sam replies, looking around at the others. More breaker tats. One's missing an eye. Nasty acid burns mark a third. Numbers 4 and 5, who might be twins, seem to be without any serious scars, but from how they're drooling, Sam thinks the harm is more a gray matter-related malfunction.
"Me and my lads here have been talking about you and decided we're going to make you our new plaything due to your pretty hair and white teeth and all,"
says the leader of the group. Sam blinks, dumbfounded for a moment.
Do you realize that no one talks like that anymore? It's just insanely stereotypical for cons in a place like this. You would have been more original if you'd said, "The boys and I wanted to know if you would like to join our book club."
The big man just smiles, and then, faster than Sam expected, one of the twins slams his head against the top of the table. At least Sam gets to see stars again, but not the type he likes to see flying past. The facility system seems slow to react to this attack, as the same twin is allowed to throw Sam off the table and then kicks him in the ribs before Dreamtime eventually kicks in. The twin drops to the floor as if he's some kind of marionette and the puppet master has just cut his strings. Sam vaguely senses a sixth man arriving at the table, followed by a short discussion he cannot hear very well, and then his new best friends depart, leaving him alone with the newcomer. It's the same guy Sam shivered about on his first day. Now he's sitting across from Sam, regarding him with an odd look on his face, maybe one of curiosity.
Hello, Sam. My name is Samuel, and something tells me that we are going to be good friends,
he says, while holding out a hand to shake.
Hello, sure, if you say so,
Sam says, shaking his hand. The man has got a firm grip, confident and rather presumptuous.
What did you say to the Good Time boys?
Oh, nothing, really. I just made it clear to them that I would like to chat with my friend here before more heads get broken. They caught on pretty quick and decided to leave. I doubt very much you will be bothered by them anymore.
Impressive. Do you have that effect often?
Only on the ones that fear for their lives. However, there are some areas that I would advise avoiding. The ones in those areas have no fear. Instead, they enjoy causing it. You should know that pain is not the only threat that you should be afraid of, but losing your mind in a place like this. You would be advised not to look too deeply at the shadows,
he says with a slight hint of amusement.
Thank you for the rescue. Now that my mind and body are safe, what can I do for you?
Samuel continues to gaze at Sam while he is talking. For some reason, he still gives Sam the creeps, and in his experience, it's very seldom that someone does something for nothing. Certainly not in a place like this. The man just looks at Sam for a moment, measuring him up maybe.
Nothing yet. However, there will come a time when I will want a favor. Nothing too serious, I promise,
Samuel says, and with that, he stands up, gives him an odd stare and leaves before Sam can reply. Sam returns to his room, his ribs feeling a little sore. A parting gift from the Good Time boys. The next day arrives with no jobs. Breakfast passes without issue and there is no sign of Samuel. The Good Time boys now avoiding him. Gone, too, are all the whispers and comments. Maybe being friends with Samuel is not such a bad thing, so why are they so scared of him? Sam's note to self: be wary of the helpful stranger and find out more about him if possible. Maybe Brookes can cast a little light. Then the obvious hits Sam. He asks for his room, and a corridor opens up for him as usual. He takes a few turns along his route back, and then he stops.
Take me to the shuttle bay,
he asks. Nothing happens. Security, he guesses, blocking his request, or else this place doesn't have a shuttle bay.
Take me to the medical room.
Nothing at first, but just as he's about to give up, the corridor shifts direction. Ah, success. So there are other places he's allowed to visit.
Take me to the facility's information room.
Again, nothing for a moment, but then the corridor changes, and another path opens up. This time he follows it, and after a much longer walk, he arrives in a new room, this one empty, but containing a single terminal and manuals stacked neatly on a bookshelf. He enters the room and steps up to the terminal. Welcome to Facility 0 is written on the screen. Sam recognizes the style of the terminal and lightly taps the screen. The words, "Please speak your request," appears. Simple enough, he thinks.
List areas I'm allowed access to,
Sam asks, and a list appears on the screen. Sam McCall's room. Dining hall, information room, medical, workout gym. No other access has been granted at this time.
Okay. List areas I'm not allowed access to,
Sam asks, and information denied appears on the screen.
Well, that's boring.
Having no other reason for being here, Sam heads back to his room, where he spends a few hours getting even more bored. Eventually, he heads for dinner, which is also uneventful. Sam starts to wonder how many inmates here kill themselves out of pure tedium. The evening passes by without incident, and he turns in. Sam is awakened by a beeping noise coming from his monitor. Blearily opening his eyes, he tries to focus on the screen. Slowly, the writing comes into focus. New area access granted to the laundry room. Accessible only during your assigned hours for laundry duties, 0800 to 1300 hours. Followed by a 1-hour break, and then laundry duties continues, 1400 to 1900 hours.
Well, that's about time. Something to do.
Sam arrives at breakfast earlier than most and sees the interesting sight of several corridors opening at once around the room as the prisoners file into the dining hall in dribs and drabs. He realizes that the system that controls all of this must be either very large or very advanced, or maybe even both. He eats breakfast, which is ham and eggs and pretty tasty at that, and then waits, feeling a little excited to have something to do today. At 800 hours, he asks for directions to the laundry, and a short corridor opens. Turns out the laundry is practically next door to the dining hall. As he enters the room, the heat hits him. Several heads turn, and the person he assumes to be the foreman of the room hands him a card.
You put the card in the wall over there.
He explains, and points to the place where Sam just entered.
Then it will tell you your duties for the morning jobs. Do it again in the afternoon, and you will be given your next job.
Sam nods and thanks him. He's a short guy, clean-cut, with no obvious markings, somewhere in his 60s. Sam notices his limp as he approaches another guy entering the room. Sam inserts his card, and a message appears on the small screen. Empty, dirty laundry bins and fill washing drums. Looking around the room, he soon spots where the laundry bins enter the room on what looks like a conveyor belt, and then where the washing drums are. As he approaches the area, a klaxon sounds and everyone starts to work. Sam soon gets the hang of what's required. Empty the laundry bins, fill washing drums. Empty the laundry bins, fill washing drums. It's relentless. As soon as the bins are empty and Sam turns away to drop the laundry into the drums, the containers whoosh away to be replaced with more full bins. Sam is quick on his feet at first, but after only 30 minutes, he's already slowed and is wishing he could be doing something else. By the time the klaxon sounds again, signaling 1300 hours, his arms feel like they are on fire, and he is grateful that he can rest for now.
Okay, guys and girls, be back here in 1 hour.
The foreman shouts. Oh, joy, Sam thinks to himself as he makes his way to dinner. As expected, carrying out work comes with better meals, and Sam had quite an appetite after his last shift. While taking his tray to an empty table, he notices a new arrival. Sam's been in enough of these facilities now to know a new inmate when he sees one. He's pretty sure he gave off the exact look the first 3 or 4 times. But here she is, and the only woman Sam's seen so far, sitting and eating alone, looking around at everyone almost like a nervous tick. He certainly can relate to this. Cute little thing. He can't imagine what she must have done to be sent here, but he's starting to feel sorry for her, knowing what's likely to happen at some point. Then he notices movement from his left, and 2 guys with walks that say we own this joint walk past him and move up to the new fish. One guy comes up from the side and leans down toward her. The man's hand is resting upon the table, adding support to his posture, and the other guy moves up from behind her but not too close. Sam can't hear what the first guy says, but judging from the look on the girl's face, it must not have been too pleasant. Sam starts to stand, and then it happens fast. Her right hand stabs her fork down hard into the guy's hand where it rests upon the table, and at the same time, she twists her body slightly to the right and thrusts upward with the knife into the underside of the man's jawbone. Both the fork and knife shatter as they are made from a material similar to plastic, but the sheer speed and force still manage to do some serious damage, and he goes down like a sack of potatoes. His mate reacts, moving in and putting his arms around her, but too slow to stop her from standing, and, with the same fluid motion, she slams the back of her head into her assailant's nose, breaking it with a dull, messy thud. Before anything else can happen, their eyes lose focus, and Dreamtime takes over, effectively ending the fight. This all happens in less than 5 seconds, maybe 4, and Sam realizes now that he was feeling sorry for the wrong side. Trustees soon arrive, and they quickly wheel off the unconscious prisoners to medical. The rest of mealtime passes without any more noses being broken. The lights in the room flash, and lunchtime is over. Walking back into the laundry room, he inserts his card, and the screen tells him that his task for the afternoon is to pick up the freshly washed items, place them into the presser and wrapper, and then stack the wrapped items 5 deep into boxes. These, in turn, are stacked onto another conveyor belt that takes the boxes away and out of the room. Sam would like to take a look at where the conveyor belt leads, but the opportunity does not arise to go take a look. Everyone works hard, with the exception of 2 guys who seem to be whispering about something every chance they get. He suspects that they're up to something. The final klaxon signifies the end of the shift. Sam eats well that evening and sleeps even better. He pulls laundry duty all that week. He was right about his suspicions concerning the 2 guys chatting. One day, one of them causes a diversion while the second uses the conveyor belt to vanish from the room. He never returns. His mate is questioned about the incident by the foreman and is released, only to disappear as well a few days later. The new inmate Sam was initially worried about returned after a week. Sam can't say the same about her would-be attackers, though, and even Samuel has not been around for a bit. Maybe he's good at not eating. One of his other suspicions is realized when Sam overhears the foreman talk to Brooks about the excellent work they'd all done that week, asking about the other laundries and how they ranked. Sam manages to corner the foreman at the very end of the shift.
Hope you don't mind me asking, but why does the facility need so much washing? I guess the dining hall could hold maybe 400 to 500 inmates at a push, but we seem to be washing for much bigger numbers.
The foreman smiles and says,
Well, maybe looks can be deceiving. You only see around 500 inmates, but I can assure you there are a lot more. Not sure how many exactly, but you are on just one of the levels of this facility. You might be surprised, but I overheard Brooks talking to one of his trustees.
His trustees?
Sam interrupts.
Yeah, sure. Well, Brooks was the first to arrive here. It wasn't supposed to be, mind you. I heard it was some kind of accident. He was supposed to be on the outside when this place came online, but for whatever reason, he wasn't. So I guess that makes him the big cheese, so to speak. Anyway, as I said, one of his trustees mentioned that Level 3 has had a few spaces become available. Level 4 is almost full, and Level 5 will come online in a day or 2. So you might want to rethink your estimate from about 600 to a larger number, more like up to 3,000 inmates. But I'm not convinced that even that figure is what this place can hold in total.
He finishes with a grin. Sam stands there for a moment, taking it all in, it's obvious, really, and then asks,
So, do you really think this place is impossible to escape from?
Only thing I really know is that a lot of people try, like that chap the other day using the conveyor belt. Yeah, I saw him, his feet at least, but he's new and took the chance to look about. If he's lucky, he will find his way back with wild stories.
Sam interrupts again.
And if he isn't lucky?
If he isn't, well, we'll find bits of him, I guess. Let's just say that it's better not to wander too far off the beaten path. Keep your head down, work hard, and you'll get decent food for it. Sure, you'll have a rather dull rest of your life, but a living one. So you better get used to not seeing the stars again. Have a good rest.
The foreman offers, And with that, he heads out of the laundry. Bits of him, Sam thinks to himself. What the heck is this place? It's much larger than he had first imagined. This is going to be a challenge. Sam heads for dinner, and the hall seems busier than normal. He realizes why as he collects his tray of food, a roast of some kind, maybe chicken, pretty good really, and he settles down and starts to eat. Soon he is joined by a few other new faces, and he notes that some of them are eating what he had on his first day, some kind of mysterious meat combination. Bland, but it will keep you alive. A conversation starts about the guys escaping from the laundry room. Wow, rumors spread fast. The conversation goes back and forth about what fate would be in store for them. Then, one of the newcomers to Sam's table, a large man in his late 40s or 50s called Frank, suddenly guffaws, spitting out a mouthful of food after someone suggests that the escapees will likely be halfway back to Earth by now.
Don't make me laugh. There's more chance we would be sent a troupe of dancing girls to entertain us than if they were halfway back to Earth. I'll tell you what most likely happened to our brave but stupid friends. They most likely wandered into an area you don't want to be lost in, and I think it's far easier to find these places than you would think. It happened to me once a few years back. The facility was having some power issues, common in the main dining hall, so I decided to go back to my cell. Well, the corridor opened up okay, but after a few turns, my room never appeared, only more corridors. So, I asked again, take me to my room. The corridors reconfigured themselves, and I kept walking. After a few more turns and still no cell, I started to worry. At that moment, the lights started to flicker and blink out in places, and then I heard the voices. Eerie, creepy voices, calling for me, heckling me. Others here call them freakers, and they sure freaked the hell out of me. I legged it back the other way, shouting out, "Take me to the main hall," over and over. I was lucky the system eventually gave me a route back, and I got out of there. I warn you now, don't go off the grid. If you do, and for too long, the system either deletes your access or forgets about you, and no matter what you do, it won't put you back on.
Frank explains with wide eyes. The others, like Sam, just sit there and stare with disbelief. This must be a joke from the old guy. Let's frighten the new kids. It's funny to try and scare the snot out of them. But he just sits there nodding as most of the people sitting around the table reply with their own skepticism. Some just up and leave, occasionally glancing back with looks that say, "You're mad," until there's only a few of us left. The older guy stares back at the last of us, and with a lowered voice he says,
There are rumors about the first few inmates that were sent here in the early days. Another level just like our own that was running well. But during the early years, when this station was sorting out a few running issues, the freakers broke in and killed almost all but a few that somehow managed to escape. Every now and again, when the power systems start to fluctuate, the corridor system becomes confused and reroutes unwary inmates to that level.
Frank's voice is getting lower, and the remaining number draw in closer to hear what he says next.
Never to be seen again.
He's murmuring now, and everyone's heads are almost touching.
But I know a secret. I know when the lights will start to fluctuate next. Any second. Now.
Frank whispers, and almost on cue, the lights that signify the end of dinner start to flicker, and almost everyone, including Sam, jumps up and looks around, panic-stricken. The old guy starts to laugh.
Well, it looks like it's time to turn in. Don't let the freakers bite.
Still laughing, the old guy gets up, almost bumping into Samuel.
Ooh, hey there, Mr. Nowhere Man. Sorry. Did not see you sneak up on us.
Not a problem, Frank. I always love to see the faces of the new guys when you tell them your ridiculous stories,
Samuel says. Frank, just waving his hand in acknowledgement and still laughing, heads toward one of the exit corridors and vanishes down it. The others start to head off, but Sam can't hold back a questioning look at Samuel.
Mr. Nowhere Man?
Sam asks.
Oh, that's a long story. Maybe another time, Sam. Besides, you better get going before your promising good start gets a negative flag.
Samuel replies. Sam nods in agreement and slowly makes his way back to his room. Frank's story giving him the creeps as the corridor opens up and the lights flicker again as a final warning. Arriving in his room, Sam is surprised to see Brookes sitting on his bed waiting for him.
Good evening, Mr. McCall. I hope you don't mind me waiting here. I sometimes find the corridors a little cold,
He says genially as Sam enters his room, the corridor closing behind him.
No, not at all. Just a little surprised to see you. How can I help?
It would seem that you are settling in nicely. I had some good reports about you from the laundry. You certainly got stuck in and don't mind doing a bit of hard work to make your life easier. Good to see.
Sam nods and smiles as Brookes continues.
I've been reading your file. Impressive. 11 convictions and incarcerations, and 10 escapes, normally within the first 6 months. Very impressive. You seem to have a knack for security systems. You're easygoing. You're not the kind of guy that uses force or violence rather than skills and intelligence to get what you want. Again, impressive indeed.
While Brookes is talking, Sam regards him. He realizes Brookes is working up to something, but his body language is hard to read. Sam guesses this must be the abandon hope, all ye who enter here speech. He pauses as Brookes stares back.
I want to offer you a new post.
Pardon?
Sam is unable to hold back a shocked look, but before Brookes can repeat himself, Sam asks,
You want to offer me a job?
Yes, Mr. McCall. A job. I want to offer you a meet-and-greet role alongside me. It would allow you a few privileges, plus you get to learn about this facility. Might even give you a few ideas.
Brookes says, surprising Sam.
Ideas? Hey, what? Are you giving me permission to try and escape?
Sam asks with a somewhat skeptical look.
Well, Mr. McCall, escape, I really believe, is impossible. But if anyone could do it, I think it's going to be you. Don't give me your decision yet. However, if you'd come with me, I would like to show you something.
They leave Sam's room, and the corridors open up as Brookes tells the system to take them to operations. The walk takes much longer than anywhere Sam has visited so far, and they end up at a dead end, or so it would seem. Brookes motions Sam to step closer, and then a glass tube closes around them and the floor starts to move upward, slowly at first and then faster, and the view of the outside world goes black. After what seems like at least 5 minutes, the elevator tube slows and stops, and then it opens, revealing a round observation center. Control consoles and computers encircle the entire room, and buzzes and beeps come from almost everywhere.
Welcome to the control center.
Brookes says with an almost theatrical tone.
This is where I can monitor the entire complex, receive messages and reports, manage the power level, resolve technical issues, and generally where I like to spend most of my time. I brought you here because I think you need a bit more information. I feel it is very important for you to know and understand this facility and the challenge ahead of you.
Brookes heads over to a terminal.
Show me Mr. Sam McCall's arrival pod to this facility.
Sam is surprised a little to hear a soft voice reply, seeming to emanate from around the room.
Certainly, Professor. Displaying on the main screen.
The screen flickers and then focuses on a revolving, white, cylindrical object. At the center is a docking hatch, and then Sam realizes that the hatch is moving away from them, or rather, he's moving away from it. He realizes he must be in the shuttle in which he arrived. The shuttle starts to rotate and Sam sees stars, amazingly bright stars, and then several of them seem to move. Then, as he watches, more of the stars seem to dance and move about. Very unusual, he thinks, and then he realizes why, and his heart starts to sink. That's impossible, he thinks to himself, as the shuttle fully rotates so it's now facing 180 degrees away from the station he has just undocked from. He can see another station, but this one is hanging centrally above a black hole.
You gotta be shitting me. That's a black hole.
The words come out rather louder than he means them to.
Yes, it is.
But how?
I'll explain in time, but for now, I need to know if you're interested in the new job.
Sam looks at Brooks and then back at the ever-increasing black hole and Facility Zero, still reeling from this new information, until the facility starts to obscure the image of the black hole.
Yes, I'm in. I'll take the job.
Good.
Brooks replies, looking pleased.
Just one question.
Oh?
Frank almost bumped into a guy called Samuel earlier and called him Mr. Nowhere Man. What does he mean by that?
Brooks contemplates this for a moment, weighing up the pros and cons of answering before he replies.
Facility Zero's system works on two means of identification, voice and retinal, by which the system knows who you are and where you are from, anywhere in the galaxy.
Brooks explains with a slight pause, then continues.
When the computer tries to identify this Samuel, the response is nowhere. He's not known to the computer systems, and he's not listed in the known galaxy, so a few of us who know this nicknamed him Nowhere Man.
Sam re-enters his quarters, noticing that his room has been changed around while he's been away. In addition, a new terminal has been added. Professor Brookes mentioned that he would be getting an upgrade due to his new position as a junior security officer. Sam chuckles to himself, thinking he's had a few titles in his time, but never a junior security officer, and especially not while in a prison. That just beats them all. Glancing again at the new terminal, he decides that it can wait until tomorrow. For now, all Sam can contemplate is sleep.
End of Chapter 2.